Oh, hey guys, this is Holistic Health with Harry, and I don't know, maybe some people watching this will recognise the gentleman across who's watched my video on my chart natal analysis, which was really on point. Georgios, man, how you doing?
Yeah, hello. Thanks for inviting me. I'm doing good. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad, man. It wasn't just a natal chart reading. I've known you on Facebook, let me see, for quite a while now, to be honest.
Hmm.
Um, and if I'm being real as well, like my thoughts have changed on you over time. Like this happens with people, right? That we don't know, don't come into our lives, and yeah, like at the beginning, I was like, oh, he seems cool, but I don't know. Over time, you just got like changed. My opinions of you have changed over time, and I think it's just because I've had fuller understanding, got closer to who you actually are, as is the case of Facebook. You never understand. So, yeah, Georgios, man. Like, I mean, you know a lot. So let's start at the beginning with maybe some kind of synthesis of your journey of awakening to where you are now.
Yeah, sure. I like it that you're talking about that, how I changed from your view,
Mm,
because I actually changed a lot because I was very extremist in my mindset around diet, health, and lifestyle. I was this kind of, this kind of personality. Hey, just do this perfectly, do this the best way possible. Don't do anything else. Everything else is a waste of time.
mm,
And I was very aggressive, very confident also in what I was doing. Because I was just focused on results. We have a lot of people who are sick, who have a history of being in trouble for a long time, not being happy. And we're just attracted to this. Oh, okay, I'm just going to do everything perfectly, and then all my problems will go away.
mm,
But when you have to deal with the underlying trauma, then that develops from trying to control things out of hand because you're trying to control your health, your lifestyle, your money, your spirituality, trying to make it as good as possible
mm.
because you're really scared of ending up in a position again where you feel helpless or sick. And then in your mind, you think, okay, the perfect way is the only way, and everything else is just not good for me.
Yeah.
It's
I
like a
mean, but
religion.
like, if we go back a little bit, like, what put you on the path? Like, what broke you? I guess. Well, did you have a break moment? Did you have a breakthrough, breakdown moment, or was it more like you was born for this? Because I meet people too that are like saying they were just had inklings as a child. That was different from other people, like straight away. Like, was you always like that?
Yeah, I had a lot of sensitivity growing up.
Mm,
Like what I know from myself personally, I attract a lot of people who are also very sensitive. I had to deal with actually quite some autistic people throughout my life who were attracted to me, people who are very much outside of the norm.
mm,
And that's because I'm kind of also like this as well. Growing up, I was very lonely. I was always on my own. Like when I was a child, I was going through the kindergarten, playing with sticks, avoiding people, just dreaming everything in my head, playing role play games.
yeah.
Because for me, it was just very real, my imagination,
Mm,
very easy to connect to. And then later, um, everything that is wrong with the world around you, the problems that come from a lack of sensitivity that people have, where they just abuse people without even realizing that it's abuse, just through very subtle things, very small things,
mm,
just through the words people say, through the restrictions other people place on others, through the control mechanisms people create, so
mm,
they can change your behavior, so they can tell you, hey, you behave like this and this because then you will be lovable. And if you don't behave the way we make you feel you have to behave,
yeah.
then you'll be in trouble. And that's been like a big theme for me, always having to adapt to be like the other people.
Yeah. You've always been aware that there's been a system that's trying to push you towards a certain personality type or way of thinking.
Yeah. And that's really, I was very sensitive to that.
Mm.
Like growing up, like even just in the kindergarten, I was always very suspicious of adults.
Really,
I
that
always
young?
felt like
Wow. Yeah.
adults are weird, especially the way they're trying to control you, control what you do. It's like, why are you trying to do that? I'm just a kid. I'm just playing. What do you want from me? Like even when I was at school, just playing with my sticks, the teachers came to me and they said, "Stop it! Drop the stick. You're not allowed to play with sticks. You could hurt other people."
Yeah.
I was not even. I didn't have any friends. I didn't even talk to people. Like I couldn't hurt anyone. But they
Wow.
kept bothering me,
Mm.
and there were also bullies they bullied me because they saw me, oh, you are vulnerable. No one around you is protecting you. You don't have any friends.
Yes.
Bullies
Yeah.
come and they take advantage.
Yeah.
And then I beat up the bullies
Did
because
you?
of bullying.
You were being up the police.
Yeah, I was actually quite strong at school time
Yeah.
because I was spending a lot of time outside. I was doing a lot of sports
Mm.
when I was living with my mother. And then the teacher said, well, you're beating up your bullies, your colleagues, your friends. We will put you into psychiatry or something. And then they actually put me into an aggression
Oh my God.
containment psychotherapy.
How old?
I,
How old were you at
I
this?
was just 8 years old,
8 years
actually.
old, going to psychotherapy for being up bullies, for them
Yeah,
starting a fight and you fighting
yeah.
back. Insane.
And the teachers always said, just come to us when the bullies touch you. Just come to us, we will protect you. I came 10,000 times and did nothing, absolutely nothing. I didn't even
Yeah.
care.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, bullies, who cares? It's just play. But
Yeah.
then when I beat up the bullies, oh no, you're evil.
Good psychotherapy. What about the bullies? Did they put them in the psychotherapy? That doesn't make any sense. Like,
But
Jesus.
that just showed me that these adults are just fucking idiots because they're just trying to control you. They don't really care what happens to you.
Mm.
They don't want to protect you. They're not on your side. They are your enemy, pretty much. They were my enemies. All kind of authority figures were always my enemies.
Yeah.
And just recently I figured out, hey, you can actually, because I'm an astrologer, you can actually see this in an astrology chart. You can see, for example, I have Mars opposition Saturn.
Mm.
And Mars, is like the warrior. Saturn is the general. And Mars opposition Saturn means the warrior is always at odds with the general, always fighting the one who is giving orders, who's establishing rules.
Mm.
And I always felt like there was something like some kind of fighting spirit within me that always said, okay, if someone tells me to do something,
Yeah.
I'm just not going to do it. I can't. It's like, I just can't.
Well,
And
unless you see that it's something that's aligned with who you are and has a purpose to it. But if you could probably feel intuitively from very early on, like you're saying, that it was all kind of bullshit. Like you could feel the deeper meanings behind the kind of superficial things they were trying to make you do. Like to turn you into some kind of fucking jelly robot kind of bullshit like everyone else is out there, let's be
yeah,
honest.
they're just trying to control you, trying to put fear inside of you so you learn to respect authority, to always obey authority as if it's a virtue, which we can
Yeah.
see on a global scale. Everybody is just, they want to obey because they think it's the right thing to do. Yeah.
Well, yeah, they think it makes a good citizen. And to a degree, I guess it does. But then to another degree, to a darker degree, it fucks us up. So, so yeah. So yeah, that's powerful what you said there. Yeah, thanks for sharing. So okay, that was a lot of what you went in school. You was already differentiated and all that stuff. Did you get broken anymore? Was that the peak break? Was that the breakthrough to break the breakdown, or was there like an
I can tell you about the break, which is skipping
mm,
a lot of other stuff.
mm,
Well, I had a breakthrough when I was actually 15 years old. I went through a lot of depression because I was always alone, very awkward, couldn't handle the emotions of other people around me because I was very sensitive, always feeling emotions and not being able to keep them outside.
mm,
And because I was very unconfident, I couldn't really process stuff. And eventually, I got really sick. I got some kind of rash in my face,
wow.
in my
Okay.
eyes, around my mouth. And this rash was very intense. Everybody could see that I'm sick. And people from one day to another started to ask me, are you high? What is wrong with your face? You look so weird. And then my confidence really dropped down. It was like, oh no, I'm
Yeah.
so ugly now and I don't know what's wrong with me.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Oh, to do with your looks, then you was very
Yeah.
attached to your appearance, I
Oh
guess.
yeah. And it was
Yeah.
also was a big thing with my appearance because I always felt like, well, beauty is like a commodity.
Yeah.
It's like you have to be beautiful, otherwise people will automatically treat you less. I noticed that very early when I was like 10 years old.
Yeah.
Because the pretty
I
kids
think quickly,
always,
guys, we get it. We think visuals are really important, don't we? For us and other
yeah,
for women,
oh
like
yeah.
more than
Because
women
we just
sometimes.
keep it hidden, that's all.
Yeah.
We just do
Yeah.
it subtle.
Yeah.
But yeah, we might be even more sensitive sometimes than women,
I think so.
although I think it's very bad for women as well, of course.
Yeah.
But for us, it's like it's not only about our self-image, but also about our masculinity. Because if we are not pretty, then we are not worthy, then we are weak, and then
Yeah.
it just shuts us down.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, quickly, I just never had the opportunity to say this, what I'd interrupt. Like I also went through a period of a session with my looks. Like it was extreme. Like I used, and as I was buying moisturizers, conditioners to get rid of spot creams, like really expensive stuff. And I was actually working and making me look good. But of course, that made me attached to the result of it. So if like say someone fiddled with that, like and it all of a sudden my hair quality or my skins wasn't working, the products, that left me vulnerable. And that was part of my awakening journey. So quickly in there, yeah, I was obsessed with it. And I had to learn to detach over time of my looks. It ruined me with girls. So yeah.
Sounds exactly what I went through.
Yeah, sorry, man. To get back to it, like, so yeah, the looks thing. You went downhill with the. You're physically looking down. Your confidence is
Mhm.
going. Um, uh, how did you fix that situation? How did you get out of that hole?
I couldn't fix it. I actually got into a really deep pit
Mm,
for about 7 years.
shit. Yeah.
Yeah, from age 16. Well, not 7 years. No, it started age 15 and it ended about age 22. Oh yeah, that is 7 years actually. Yeah.
How old are you, by the way, now, Georgios?
Now I'm 25.
Okay, it's not that long ago then. This stuff, Jesus.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was very long. I was just
Yeah.
locking myself at home until 22, not doing any job, any school. Actually canceled school at 16.
Mm,
And then I just got really depressed. And it actually forced me to really surrender and just completely give up on all my dreams, on my aspirations, because I thought I would never heal. I
yeah.
thought I was sick forever because I tried everything normal and now changing my diet a little bit, but not
Mm,
much. Going to doctors, taking medication, blah, blah, blah.
yeah.
Nothing helped.
Mm,
Eventually, I discovered water fasting and I
mm,
was like, okay, if the most extreme thing doesn't work, I'm just going to kill myself. Well, let's just do it, commit.
yeah.
And I was like, okay, I understand that sacrifices have to be made. You know, I learned growing up, you always have to work very hard and then you get a reward. So
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that makes sense. When water fasting is hard, maybe it'll work. So I did it, and I did actually intend to do only 2 to 5 days.
Yeah.
But then 5 days turned to 16 days and 16 days to
Is that
20.
because you got loads of good results very quickly? You were noticing the difference.
Yeah,
It's carried
after
on.
about 5 days,
Yeah.
it's almost like the rush. A little bit calmed down, it cooled off. My
Wow.
eyes started to feel normal because they felt completely inflamed for years.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, a redemption, a miracle.
Yeah.
And then actually, because I
Yeah.
was very anti-religious, anti-spiritual, I was like, oh, so maybe God does exist.
Yeah.
Maybe it does because the fasting really opened me up. Somehow I could feel some kind of presence inside of me, which I couldn't feel
Yes.
before.
Yeah.
And it was just blocked from all the disease, the unhappiness, just completely locks the light out.
Mm,
And then I had my breakthrough and I said, okay, you can actually take charge of your life, you can change something, but nobody teaches you that. So everybody is just completely clueless, ignorant.
mm.
And now I just go on, do all the stuff, and blah, blah, blah. And yeah, eventually I healed this problem in my face. It's gone
Mm.
now. And I
That was
figured
like
out,
the lead on then towards all that you're doing now, kind of that water
yeah,
fast.
because that was a lead towards going into detoxification, fruitarianism.
Yeah.
Actually, before I went to fruitarianism,
Yeah.
I actually had scabies for 3 months.
Right. That sounds bad. I don't know specifically what it is, but I don't know. That's pretty bad. That whatever it sounds.
Yeah, it's very bad. It's one of the worst things ever.
Oh
Like if
shit.
you get
Yeah.
scabies,
Mm.
you don't want to live
Shit.
because the scabies is a little parasite which goes inside your skin and then it lays eggs inside the skin.
Oh, that
Then
one.
out of the
Yeah.
egg, new mites come
How
out.
did you learn you had that then? Who told you that?
Um, I was infected by a friend whom I knew had
Yeah.
it because he told me.
Oh.
And then none of the natural remedies worked. I
Mm.
tried all kind of antiparasitics and stuff like that. I was completely lost again. Out of a sudden, from nowhere, I got sick. Yeah.
Mm.
And these mites, they completely destroyed my skin. They They ate my skin from the inside. They created little tunnels. I even still have scars on some areas of my skin.
Really? Yeah.
It's like they do tunnels. They put eggs in the tunnels, so the tunnels more might come. They spread through your skin. They spread to your furniture, your texture, and then they spread to other people. They infect them.
Yeah.
And this condition is very problematic.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't come from a toxic body. It's just they eat your skin. It doesn't matter if it's healthy.
Oh, so it's like a lice. It's like a lice that jumps over. It just does whatever it's going to do. It's nothing to do with your toxicity. It's a transferable shit, man. Like Jesus.
Yeah, it's like a fly, but the food is you. And yeah. But eventually, I started to do fruitarianism because I was so desperate and actually tuned down my symptoms. Because apparently, when I ate certain carbohydrates, they actually flared it up. And it was because they came out and ate the carbohydrates, spreading even more from my body. And it's interesting because they can actually eat it in the skin. So the carbohydrates from grains even go into your skin.
Right, yeah, it feeds off them. Oh, yeah. Oh, wait, are you saying that the fruits would have fed it then? Surely not. No.
Because it's simple sugar, somehow it just dissolves very quickly.
Yeah.
The complex sugar from the starch, it spends many hours in the bloodstream and then as opposed to it gives them more food.
Yeah. To make them worse, make that feeling worse. Was it really itchy as well? Was it itchy and annoying as well as
it actually is so bad. I actually once I stood up for 4 days, not sleeping, not being able to sleep.
Wow.
Because it was just itching constantly. I actually showered about 10 times every single day.
Oh, yeah.
Doing cold showers 10 times because the cold showers would shock, freeze the mites.
Yeah.
And put them to sleep for a while, paralyze them.
Would it? The cold showers woke them up a little bit. Oh, maybe that's as well because the blood gets pushed from the skin to the center of the organs, and they probably pushed them, gave them a little tough ride too. So that's good. So yeah, you killed it with fruitarianism. You're saying they all went away.
No, actually, it just helped. It didn't kill them. I fasted for 2 weeks. Didn't kill them either.
Yeah.
What I did then is actually the pharmaceutical drugs, which I would not do again because they completely destroyed my skin even more.
Right.
But they killed the scabies.
All right. So yeah, it does have its uses, doesn't it? Like the pharmaceutical drugs for some things, but
it's only a last resort. Like if there was any other way, I would never do it.
Yeah. That's cool. So yeah, man, you've learned so much. You have so much knowledge, and I'm 25, and this is all from between. You said you only got out of the depression from 22, which isn't that long ago, quite frankly. And then you went down the path of the I think what you'd say fairly is the extreme, like I did, I guess too, like just mindset, this mindset of like because you're doing so much. I feel like it builds up an ego. It can't not because you're spending so much time and you're so different to what other people are doing, which does, by the way, give us great knowledge. I think you'd acknowledge. I mean, you got great knowledge now, but when you stay on the extreme path, my God, you get great knowledge and validation from other people too, and that's the problem. But yeah, you've tamed, and I think I have. Like, what's the deal with that then? Why do people? I love your explanations before of why people. I don't know. I'll just say who was it that I posted? Grub from the Garden. Nick Caputo is one of them. Some others. Ty Law. Ty Law, definitely. Yeah, why is it that what's wrong with that then? Like, I feel there's something intuitively wrong with it. But what's wrong with that? The extremeness that they do. I mean, the bad side of it. It's not all wrong, but.
Well, let's say what's good about it first.
Yeah, sure.
Because of course there are certain things good. Like it's very good for taking care of their health, teaching people how to be healthier, moving them away from the stuff that is bad for them that keeps them depressed, locked into a lower consciousness because of the imprisonment of their psyche, their body, their health. So that's very great. It's also good we are creating a community, spreading this knowledge even further. And then also another good effect is when other people go on a similar journey and they get the results done, they are inclined to spread it even more. And so it serves its purpose. It's actually very, very well designed to help people, to raise them up into this thing. So that's a positive thing. Now we come to the negative thing.
Yeah.
The negative thing, I think, has to do with spirituality more than health or natural well-being. because when we talk about spirituality, we also talk inevitably about trauma, psychology, emotions. This is all very interconnected under the same domain, because when you teach people, you only have to do things a certain way, otherwise you are kind of sinning or impure, or
Mm.
you are not in power. You know, you are a slave, like some people say, you are a
Yeah.
slave.
Yeah.
Like Chris and Mandy, for example,
I was just thinking of
don't be
him.
a slave, be
Yeah.
strong, empower yourself. It's very inspiring. A lot of people like that. And that's why also people get attracted to them, because
Yes.
it's very fiery,
I find
sparkly.
it
And
boring and I find it annoying now for a long
oh,
time,
you find it
actually.
annoying, huh?
Yeah. Well, I find it like if you're always focused on the negative, which is a part of reality, I'm like, because the way I look at life, Georgios, is that I'm having a lot of fun with doing the only thing that I ever can do, which is raising my vibration and working and finding, experimenting on myself. And he's not posting about that ever. Is always about the slate, which is a part of reality. But I think there's like a yin bang balance. These guys have gone off. They're all showing you the negative of life and how everyone else sucks, and you got to do this. And what about the amazing things of life of other people? God's like Jesus, yeah. It's depressing actually. I don't relate to it for a long time. That stuff. Like,
You
although
know
I can
why?
get, I can
Depressing.
get bits of nuggets from them though. I do like that about them. I love the
Yeah.
nuggets. It's just I wish
Yeah,
they
the nuggets are good. They're very good. Like some of the posts
But I
when
feel
they,
like they need to be the best in the world in their mind. Like there's an ego thing, like they have to be the best. I am the best. And yes, their protocols would to say that if they're going to do juices for 10 years, they're going to, which some of them have, like Tyler, I don't know, I do believe he's done all these crazy things. Like, good for you, bro. But I don't know. Yeah, I think your explanation is much more nicer and well balanced than mine. I'm just like, oh, I don't know how to just, why I just don't resonate with them really.
well, thank you. We can talk about that
Mm,
more.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
First, I wanted to clarify
yes,
like
yeah,
why you find it depressing, what
mm,
we are doing sometimes, the energy we are putting off,
mm,
because the way they inspire people, the way they motivate people,
mm.
is by appealing to their fear and making them afraid of going the other route, of
Oh, okay.
abandoning themselves, disempowering themselves.
Yeah,
And so every time people read the post
yeah,
and they're thinking about their diet choices, they're thinking about what can I improve? How can I correct what I'm doing? How can I get away from what I was doing before?
yeah,
And every time they do that, they judge their choices and they make this judgment about how negative their diet choices may be, how it's putting them down, holding them back. And
right.
then it just enhances and strengthens their identification with the body,
Mm,
makes it more perfectionistic. And through this identification of the body, oh, I need to protect the soul, I need to make this good. This is my attachment, this is very important.
mm,
Then they get fearful. And it's this energy that's really putting people like us off,
yeah,
because we don't want to run on fear. We just want to be healthy because it's natural for us. We enjoy it.
yeah.
We don't want to do it as a kind of pushing, forcing,
No.
which is basically their
It's a
domain. Like
very
they,
masculine energy, isn't it? I mean, if you talk
oh
about the
yeah, very
masculine and
massive,
feminine.
very intimidating also.
Yeah,
Like people, they don't really want to say anything to these people. Nobody wants to criticize them
yeah,
because immediately they get shut down. It's like this fire energy that just burns through
yeah,
to shut down any opposition, anything, anyone that says anything different.
yeah.
That's why it's
Like
like,
if you comment on their stuff, they would, yeah, we're all scared of comment. I don't feel any point to it, like commenting on their stuff. I don't know what they'd say back. They won't hear my message. They won't hear yours either, I don't think.
you can't talk to them.
Yeah,
Honestly, you can't talk to them because they are so convinced that they're doing the right thing.
yeah,
Anyone else is just an enemy who questions. And
yeah,
of course, there's nothing wrong in thinking what you're doing is right. I mean, you and me, we also think what we're doing is right, like everybody else.
true.
But we would never fight our people and tell them, no, you have to do it like this.
No.
No, we just don't do it. What we do, however,
Mm,
we give constructive criticism. We tell you here, these are the good things you're doing. This is
mm,
why it's so good, like we said before. These people, these gurus, as they are showing themselves to the community, are
mm,
actually spreading knowledge.
mm.
Yeah, so we're providing this useful function for humanity.
Yeah,
The only thing we're criticizing is the way they're doing it. If they
yeah,
could just do it in a way which is not intimidating, not fear promoting, not forcing, not eating disorder encouraging,
Yeah.
because when we talk about eating disorder, we simply talk about the fact that if a person makes their choice about their meal, but has to feel guilty and shame about what they're eating,
Yeah.
then that's a problem.
Yeah.
Guilt and shame are never good.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. It's like what was I going to say? Like for me, I learn best like because I this is something maybe they don't have. I'm starting to learn a lot better now, trusting the universe, the divine path, accepting people as they are. Because I know for me, I learn best when I'm given the space of community. Because I think a lot of my trauma was getting kicked out of community and loneliness and feeling so untrustworthy of all people. So I learn best now from if you give me the space to be me and accept me and put me in the tribe, I'll do my own shit. And I feel like they're doing the opposite. They're like, oh, I don't, you're not part of the tribe, from what you're saying too. You're not part of the tribe until you do this. And I'm like, my coaching and your coaching and my style is like, it's more like universe has got your back, it's got our back. Everything is perfect out there. Your divine path will be your divine. You'll get there in your own end. But yeah, it's acceptance. I'm like maybe more feminine, I guess, in my style, even though I've got a mask. At the beginning, I was way more masculine and aggressive. I was a bit like them, if I'm being honest, at the beginning. Yeah, he was. He was. I don't think I like that about you. And that's because I didn't like, I was trying to undo that about me, by the way. So I was like, oh yeah, he's been a bit aggressive. But yeah, and I think like it's not evolving. I mean, I generally worry that they're going to be like that forever. And maybe that's okay because I know you said it does help people, and I do agree it does. But I do worry if you stay like that forever. I just connotate it with not evolving because I've had to evolve. You've had to. Why are they? Is that fair? Is that unfair? What I said? Are they
Oh,
not
it's not
evolving?
you that you're saying that, yeah, but you're worrying about them.
Yeah, I mean, only because like I want us all to evolve, not just in our knowledge, but in our. I mean, how amazing would it be if someone like Tyler um went a bit softer? Because he'd capture more people, I feel. Like, I don't know. I don't know these thoughts. It might be wrong, by the way, but
Yes, you're completely right. Like when you talk about how you're more feminine and
mm,
how we were so masculine like them at first as well, everything just works towards balance.
mm,
And now we bring back balance by trying to lower the masculine, integrate more feminine, because the feminine is all about receiving,
yeah,
accepting and submitting to a higher force,
yeah,
like the woman in the Bible submits to the man, even though I don't really want to use the Bible, but
mm,
when a woman or a man submits,
mm,
it's like now they are in control of a higher force that takes care of them, and they're trusting that force. And we
yeah,
want to trust that force because if we can trust this force to take care of us, as it did before when we were born, our parents, community, life, the way it's all set up is to serve us. You know, that's
yeah,
the only way it works basically.
yeah,
And when we have then this mindset like these people, where we need to control everything and make sure we don't fall into the control of the darker forces,
yeah,
we are basically just giving up that trust. We're giving up the trust into the higher force and we're saying, oh, I trust myself. I am the man.
yeah.
I'm going to go forward.
Right, because you don't trust the universe. You've got to force it a little bit, like the masculine forcing it. I'm in complete control. I control what I put in my mouth. I control what I don't put in my mouth. I control this, like a lack of faith. It's so simple what you said, but so true. I think. By the way, on that, on level, and I don't. It's not. I don't think it's talking about them. I think it's going to help a lot of people here, like just how me and you see it. So I think, for example, like Chris Manu is considered very extreme, but if you met him, I think he'd be quite nice. I've never met him, by the way.
He's
So
nice.
there's a paradox there. They're giving out. This is another problem, maybe. They're like giving out an image on Facebook, like, oh, I'm this, I'm that, I'm that, and that. But when you go meet them, they're nice and soft. So, like, is that a good thing to be like that? I mean, I like the fact they're soft in real life, but why is there this? Is that a good thing to be
They are
contrasted?
on a mission. They are just
Mm,
good people
yeah,
who are on a mission. They
yeah,
want to inspire others, tell them what to do, so they can enjoy what they're enjoying from what they're doing.
yeah.
Yeah, it's all
That's
good. They should just do it in a way that's
Yeah,
not
I feel
so.
like we are harsh on them because their personality, we're judging them on their ego personality of what they say on Facebook. But ultimately, I don't know about Ty Law, but I know Chris Manley. I just got an impression that if I spoke to him in real life, they'd be really nice. And by the way, on that, quickly with an example of all this is Charles Salvatore. So he's very extreme, but actually he's taken 5-MeO DMT. Did you see his videos, Georgios? He's taken a 5-MeO DMT recently, which is literally will explode every cell into your body into a godly, like a non-duality state, and it forced him too. I've got to watch more of his videos. He's done a lot in the last few days. But anyway, he's changing. Like, you can see it. It's really fun to watch. Like, from being really extreme, because I saw you criticize him recently, but you haven't met the new Charles, and I mean that. Like, he's changed, like, because of that. Like, he's changing. Like, it's really cool.
Yeah. That's what I wanted to touch upon earlier.
Yeah.
It's the trauma work, but it's integrated into the spiritual change.
Right.
Because these psychedelics, when they show you more about reality, when they reestablish your trust in your faith, all these masculine extremes just completely are coming down. Because they're just not serving anymore. They don't make sense anymore. They become irrelevant. And then people can evolve into a more balanced state.
Yeah, just as he is. Yeah. Okay, let's get off that topic because I want to talk a little bit about you and your stuff. So, you do loads of things, like you do lucid dreaming and all these kind of things. Did you do what was the one I said to you earlier?
The remote viewing.
Remote viewings. Tell us a little bit about these experiences and how you're doing them. Just because they're really cool. Like, is there ways we can replicate this stuff? Like,
yeah, the thing is, the way my psychic gifts work is a very feminine kind of style, the way it works, because they kind of work on their own. The only thing I can do really to use them is to support my body in doing it automatically. So every time I have a psychic experience like a lucid dream, a remote viewing, an insight or a premonition or a download, it's always coming out of a situation in which I'm in an ideal place to receive it. And the way it happens, for example, for the remote viewing, I was sleeping, and before I slept, I was actually doing a lot of work to surrender, to let go more. And a lot of stuff has been happening in the last 1.5 years after I had a Kundalini awakening experience.
You did?
Like, which very similar, which is very similar to these psychedelics that you're using, only that I didn't use anything.
Right. How? Like, was you so clean or something? Or what was you doing?
I was doing a lot of fasting, but it happened only when I actually tried to balance things out and surrender. Because I noticed when I was very extreme in my diet, my psychic intuition was very blocked. I never had any psychic insights. I had a lot of downloads, information, revelations, knowledge, but never lucid dreaming or downloads from my past or past lives or information like that. Nothing supernatural. Until eventually, I decided to eat whatever I want and just let my body decide if it wants to be healthy. I just follow that directive. Trust in the directive that's coming from my body, trust in the wisdom that's coming from my body, instead of being only here in the masculine intellectual mind. And that worked somehow. At first, I got really sick. I ate a lot of lentil soups, a lot of heavier foods, a lot of fat. I felt really, really bad because of the vegetarian journey. My body just couldn't handle it.
Yeah.
But eventually I was like, okay, now I feel grounded. Now I actually enjoy fasting a little bit again. Then I went naturally towards fasting without forcing it. Just felt very easy because now I was more grounded. And then I just stopped being harsh on me. And I asked myself, well, what am I being harsh for? Who do I ultimately serve with all this control and all this health? Who is this health of my body really serving the most? And I recognized, well, the most it's serving is my ego.
And
I want to be healthy. That's what I'm doing it. It's because I'm just attached to the desire of doing it. That's why.
Yeah.
And I noticed, well, that's irrelevant. Why am I doing this? It doesn't matter. And I stopped doing it. And eventually, through that revelation, Kundalini awakening happened out of nowhere. And after that,
what was that Kundalini awakening? Sorry, is it like when the chakras explode and you see God? You have a duality.
Well, it's like, well, first something was happening for 2 weeks prior to that. 2 weeks prior, my body was really sick. Even though I was fasting, eating very clean,
Mm.
My body felt very good, high energy, but I
Yeah.
got sick out of nowhere, like a detox, you know?
Yeah.
And I actually got so sick, I was bedridden. I was in my bed, I couldn't eat, I couldn't even put anything in my mouth, my body would just straight up reject it.
Mm.
And then I was like, okay, I can't even drink. I actually had to drive us for a few days.
You was breatharian for 2 weeks.
Well, not like that, but I was drinking very little.
Mm.
And then eventually I did actually some green juice.
Mm.
And I did green juice for 3 days. And for some reason, it stabilized me after 2 weeks of being bedridden. And then, as I was on my computer, I saw a video from Ranjit. I don't know if you know her from a master's group.
No.
And she talked about, oh, I'm in this mall and I
Mm.
can see all these people and I can see everyone that is going to the mall is touched by the divine. Everyone is completely the divine. Everyone is exactly where he needs to be when he goes to work, when he goes shopping. Everything is perfect. Everything is the divine.
Mm.
I was just like so inspired hearing that.
Mm.
It was like, yes, of course. So even if I do all the shitty things of my health, even if
Yeah.
I do the worst things possible,
Yeah.
still the divine. Like, why am I so worried about it?
Yeah.
It's like I'm just so scared of fucking myself up, so scared of
Yeah.
making the wrong decision
Yeah.
because I just don't trust this divine. I don't have the trust. So then I said, okay, it actually makes more sense to have a trust.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but somehow it's like it was predetermined, this moment after I
Yes.
saw the video. And
Definitely. Yeah.
something clicked in my brain. It was like
Mm.
a switch.
Yeah.
It went over. And I
Mm.
felt this weird tingling sensation going down my spine. My whole nervous system felt very electric,
Yeah.
almost like buzzing
Yeah.
energy. And my brain became really active as if I was just taking some kind of drug, which really just pumped up my brain.
Yeah.
When I started to write some stuff on my computer, and I received some kind of download information, just confirming everything. Yes, you are right. Here's the information inside your brain, downloading from the divine into you to
Yeah.
recognize you are the divine. You don't need to do anything. You don't need to worry about anything.
Yeah.
And I finally really understood it. And then after about half an hour,
Mm.
some kind of weird thing happened in my chakras. First, it came from I think my neck,
Yeah.
and down my spine, my back, lower back, my
Mm.
kidneys,
Mm.
and then in my butt. So basically my sacral chakra, my
Yeah.
genitals, and
Mm.
then up to my root chakra,
Yeah.
and then in my heart chakra,
Mm.
and then in my heart chakra, I felt this like a buzzing energy, and then instantly just went up into my crown chakra through my throat,
Mm.
and it felt like I was struck by lightning. And the energy was so intense. It's
Mm.
like my body couldn't keep it in. I just couldn't be still. So I
Yeah.
actually screamed. I screamed super loud, like a death scream. The
Yeah.
whole house,
Where,
everyone.
where were you? Were you here?
I was
Oh,
here in
yeah.
my home, here on
Yeah.
this seat,
Yeah.
screaming my balls out. And
Yeah.
actually, I felt so like something changed in my brain when I was screaming.
Yeah.
And I had a vision suddenly from a thousand petaled pink or violet lotus blossom with thousands of petals just lining up and flipping, overlapping each other, and then opening up like this. And it was the clear vision in my third eye. My eyes were closed and I could see this lotus flower blossoming and blooming up.
Mm.
And it felt like a shower of energy was showering over my head from my crown chakra, which I could feel right above my head, outside of my body,
Mm.
showering over my whole body. And then an extreme vision of ecstasy just came over me
Mm.
and completely cleansed my chakras, like something was purged out somehow.
Yeah.
And it was like my body was changed, some kind of trauma release happened.
Yeah. Mega trauma release, I would have thought. Yeah. Like a big one.
Yeah, it was really like the most intense thing of my life. And after that, I was in a different state. Something deactivated my ego.
Yeah.
You know, you have yourself basically.
Mm.
You're witnessing to everything that's happening to you, to your conversation you have right now,
Mm.
to listening to me. I'm talking through the self.
Mm.
But when I had this Kundalini awakening,
Mm.
there was no self between me and the soul.
Yeah.
It was like there was no one inside this body. It was almost like it was empty. It was very
Yeah.
strange.
Mm.
But something took over. It was almost like a presence entered into my vessel.
Mm.
It was like as if you had two souls.
Mm.
One soul is without the ego, one soul is with the ego, and the soul without the ego came in and took over.
Yeah. Oh, nice. Yeah.
And
Nice
then
one.
I actually, for about 9 hours, I was talking to myself, having visions of myself, getting information,
Mm.
seeing some kind of vision of hundreds of mirrors in front of me, mirroring back my own image,
Mm.
showing me that I'm in hundreds of mirrors and how each mirror is some other person. And these persons are everywhere, you know, on the planet, in the universe, blah, blah.
Mm.
And then I could feel intuitively in my body that I was the center of the universe.
Yeah.
I thought I was the center, but
Mm.
of course, because the self was gone, there was only the soul. And of course, the soul is ultimately what's behind the soul is the center. The center is everywhere
Mm. Mm.
because it doesn't matter where you are always the center. Always. Yeah, everything is always revolving around you,
Mm.
but you see yourself, your body as a projection, a
Mm.
mirror image of yourself. And this is what I saw in my vision.
Mm.
And then I could go around the house, talk to my father, which was also there,
Mm.
who thought I was going insane. I was telling him, "You are God, you are God."
Yeah.
like,
From
like,
not a logical place, from a feeling. Yeah.
yeah. But
Yeah.
not he is God, but something is behind him that is God. Look behind you as
Oh,
something.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I could see it very clearly. Something is behind you,
Yeah.
but he was
Wow.
like, "Who are you? What is wrong? What did you do to my son? You are crazy."
Yeah.
And he
Yeah.
actually called the police,
Did he?
called
Okay.
the
Yeah.
ambulance.
Shit.
An ambulance came. They built at our doorstep.
Yeah.
Why? Because my father hid the keys.
Mm.
Because I told my father, I want to go out. God is waiting for me and he wants me to be naked.
Shit.
Yeah,
Okay.
I wanted to take out all my clothes and go out naked.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Yeah.
And you know why? Because I learned this about astrology.
Mm.
And also because I had some experience with some autistic people before
Mm.
when they had a psychotic break. And sometimes when people have a break, like psychosis, they take out their shoes and they go barefoot.
Mm.
They go barefoot because it's we are humans, we're naturally designed to go barefoot.
Mm.
Shoes are extremely unnatural, and
Mm.
you can really feel that when you are more connected to your psychic self.
Oh,
It's
right.
very
Yeah.
strong because the feet are extremely connected to your intuition.
Yeah.
The feet are like a gateway to the psyche.
Mm.
And that's why I want to go out naked so I can really feel my environment through my skin, feel the psychic connection to the plants, the earth, the
Yeah.
building.
Whilst you were doing this, did you even you were being true to you, but was you aware that that would upset your dad at some part? Like now you'd be aware that if you asked him the same question, he might do that. Was
Yeah,
you aware?
the thing is, I didn't care
Oh, okay.
because,
Yeah.
like I said before, my ego was gone. I
Yeah.
didn't care about anything.
Oh,
I
right. Yeah.
actually said to myself, it would be very nice to leave this body. I wonder what happens then.
Yeah.
I actually was thinking and imagining how I would go out and do suicide,
All
like
right.
jump out of the train,
Yeah.
because how interesting it would be to do that. Because I
Right.
absolutely didn't care at all about the physical body. I was not depressed. I was
Mm.
not sad. And that was the most profound realization for me that if you're not attached, you can be the happiest person on the planet and
Yeah.
still it doesn't matter at all what happens to your body.
Yeah.
It's just
Even
irrelevant.
even ending it. Yeah. Suicide. Yeah. Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
a mask like
One second, mate.
how,
Let me pause this. My dad's.
you know,
Yeah.
yeah.
Carry on. Yeah.
So yeah, so you have a cloak, and when you are in a kind of psychosis or some kind of awakening experience, this cloak may go away because the third eye is so wide open, it just can see through the illusion so clearly that
Mm.
it just sees how irrelevant it is.
Mm.
It just loses all its relevance, because in order to be attached to the body, you have to be under a certain kind of spell, a certain state of illusion.
Yeah.
That's how attachment works.
Yeah.
And it's necessary because you need this illusion to sustain the body, to stay in the body. Anyways, my father, he threw away the key, prevented me from leaving until the ambulance came. I went into the ambulance. My throat chakra closed, and the energy from my throat actually went into my third eye, into my crown chakra, and I could hear the thoughts of the people around me, the ambulance drivers, the nurses, etc.
No way. You could hear all their thoughts.
I could feel them.
Yeah.
Not hear them directly,
yeah.
but feel them, feel the intention, the emotions, very clearly.
Yeah.
And I could feel my father was completely losing his mind, completely desperate, really dark energy, like a prisoner or something. And I went with them, and they had a very nice energy. They were just trying to help. Hello, we are just trying to kidnap you to the hospital. Don't worry, we're helping you. And so I was actually like, oh, okay, you're helping me. And I went with them very happily, smiling all the way, smiling in the ambulance. And then I was asking the ambulance driver, are you taking me to a new dream? And he said, yes, a new adventure. And I'm like, oh, yeah.
Because he thinks you're crazy. I mean, they must have all thought it.
Yeah, they thought I was crazy.
Yeah.
But I was just thinking, this is just a dream. This is so much fun.
Yeah.
I wonder what will happen next. I was so excited. I had so much connection to everything. I could feel how my soul was controlling the driver, or rather what was behind my soul. You know, the oneness was controlling the driver, was controlling the ambulance, the people, even the machines. You know, when you look at objects that seem lifeless, like a crystal, crystal clear, so it seems like just a static object. It's completely conscious. It's just conscious like you. It's just very different. But because it's an illusion, it's a projection of your same consciousness. So it's like an extension at the same time. As your body is an extension. And yeah, I could feel everything was extended. Everyone was an extension of me. But I had no identity. So this me was not the me I am talking about, behind the me. And then at the end, I was in the hospital. And the nurses were talking to each other, staring at me. And I was like, I know what you want to do with me. You want to test me and inject me with some bullcrap.
Yeah.
But because I don't care, it's fine.
Oh,
and I actually completely cooperated because I just didn't care.
Yeah.
And I was just really, really happy, really blissful. Like, no matter what they do to my body, even if they chop off my limbs, I will still be happy. That's how it is when you're not attached. It's like the thing they talk about in yoga, in Hinduism.
Yeah.
The moment you turn off your mind, you turn off your attachment, you turn off your thoughts, you are in complete bliss automatically.
Yeah.
And I was in that state for 6 hours or 9 hours.
Yeah.
And then I was there in this room.
So quickly, is it true is there that kind of state Eckhart Tolle talks about that you're saying? Would you believe that one? The Eckhart Tolle, the presence, pure presence.
Yeah.
Is that the kind of state?
Similar, yeah.
Cool.
It's like you're just aware of everything because you can feel it very directly, and because you can feel the illusion so clearly.
Yeah.
It just loses all relevance and you don't worry about anything.
Yeah, that must make life so much fun. Yeah, carry on though. So yeah, he was in the hospital. You didn't care to chop your limbs off.
Yeah, and then I was at this bed, and this nurse came, and she had a syringe, and I was like, "Oh, hello." And she was like, she was actually putting some kind of things around my wrist to restrain me and to keep me locked like a prisoner on the bed.
Yeah.
Because I was apparently insane in their eyes.
Insane, yeah.
Smiling, doing nothing. And then as he was trying to inject me, I could feel some kind of surge going from my spine into my head. And suddenly was like, oh no, I'm not going to allow this to happen. Suddenly my attachment came back.
Attachment, yeah.
This blissful state was it just completely
disappeared. When?
Disappeared.
Yeah.
But I was still happy. I was still feeling quite good. But now I was attached again.
Yes.
And because I was attached, I was saying no. I pushed her back.
That's also the universe telling you that actually this is a serious thing and you need to got a mission here to be attached again.
Yeah, it wanted to protect me.
Yeah.
For some reason. My mind was turning back on so my soul could protect my body.
Yes.
And then with the attachment, thanks to the attachment, it protected me.
Yeah.
I pushed her back, and then we were talking, and I was talking to my father.
Yeah.
And I was just thinking, I was just insane in his eyes over the last 9 hours. And I'm in a hospital. They think I'm insane.
Yeah.
How do I get out of this?
Right, because now you're back in your body. You're back in your normal ego self. You're like, you realize different.
I knew they would keep me as long as they could because they are insane motherfuckers.
Yeah.
These hospital nurses, they are complete douchebags. I know them.
Yeah.
And how do I get out? And I thought, let's just try to trick them. I actually tried to trick my father.
Yeah.
And I told him,
yeah.
What am I doing here? Where am I? And I pretended that I didn't know the 6 hours I was crazy, and now I'm back to normal. And I actually managed to convince him that I'm back to normal now.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I knew if I was just admitting what happened the last 6 hours, he would never believe I'm normal.
Yeah.
It was just clear to me. And then, he talked to the nurses, we talked, blah, blah, blah. And they did an MRI scan of my brain. And they found some kind of weird anomaly in my brain. Some kind of area was some kind of empty. Like there was an area inside of my brain in the middle. It was completely empty. I was like, why is that? And they didn't know. They couldn't figure out what it is. But I knew.
Yeah.
But I didn't tell them anything because I knew they would just keep me there. And then they actually helped me there.
Yeah.
And they tried to restrain me. I told them, well, you can't hold me here. This is against my rights. I am perfectly normal and I'm going to leave now. And I convinced my father that I'm normal. Yeah. And me and my father, we left. And they called the police, sent the police after us. The police got held behind us. The police came to me and they said, you are either coming with us or we are going to force you and restrain you and put handcuffs on you. I was like, well, you can't do this. I know my rights. You have absolutely no authority or reason to do this. I did nothing. And they said, well, if you're going to resist, I'm going to use force and violence against you. And I was like, okay, if you can actually say that as a policeman, then you will do it. I'm not stupid. And I'm just going to go with you to not make it worse. And then they put me to the hospital. They restrained me there, and then they injected glucose syrup into my veins because they're insane. They think to stabilize me, they put glucose syrup in my bloodstream.
Right.
Like literally white sugar into your bloodstream. How insane.
Yeah. Fake shit.
Disgusting. And I felt so sick, so dirty from what they were doing.
Yeah.
Chemicals. And I told them, well, as soon as I stabilize according to your technology, which you're using to test me, I'm getting out of here. And you are going to release me. And they said, oh, we don't know what's wrong with you. You could die on a heart attack. We don't know what's wrong, because they thought I was anorexic because I was very thin, very skinny.
Yeah.
And then my mother called them and told me I had an eating disorder. And then they wanted to hold me there for at least 3 days. And I told them in a very convincing manner that I'm completely sane. I was lying to them, convincing them that I was eating a very normal plant-based diet, even though I was fasting for the last 6 days.
Yeah.
And the lie worked. The doctor believed me because I was very convincing. I have Lilith in Gemini in my astrology chart. Lilith in Gemini is very good at lying. And it worked. And they released me from the hospital after about 6 hours of noticing my blood levels were normal. Yeah. Even though the medicine, the chemicals, and the table salt they put in the glass and water to make me drink it, I actually just had it in my mouth, pretended I was drinking it to show the nurse I'm drinking it, and then I spit it out of the toilet, drained it where it belongs, and then eventually I could leave.
Yeah.
And then on my way home, I was very foggy, and I noticed whatever chemicals they were putting into my bloodstream was designed to erase my memory.
Really?
Because I forgot what had happened. I couldn't remember it. I couldn't remember the Kundalini awakening for about 12 hours. I fasted, I did an enema, cleaned myself out, and for some reason, after I cleaned with the enema, my memory returned.
Yeah.
The chemicals...
suppressed your memory, the chemicals they gave you.
Yeah, they suppressed my memory somehow. And then my memory came back completely the next day. I remembered everything. And then I started to really, really cry very strongly.
Yeah.
because all of this realization, all this realization of knowing that no matter what happens, everything is going to be perfect, and I'm not inside this body. I don't have to identify with it. I don't even have to worry about it. Ultimately, if
Mm.
I'm completely aware, then all the suffering, all the forcing for diet, all the restricting, all the making myself miserable just to be healthy,
Yeah.
it's just completely bogus, just completely irrelevant. I
Yeah.
was so happy. I cried so much. I was so relieved.
Yeah.
It was the biggest relief of my life.
Yeah, that's so powerful, Georgios. You explained it so well. It's really engaging, and what a powerful reference experience. So, can I ask quickly how that's affected you since that moment? So, is that the reason why you've gone a little bit less extreme? Like you realised
Yeah,
that it's all a bit silly, this life. I mean, trusting the universe and trusting that we are not this meat suit, which the other guys know too. But you've had a deeper reference maybe than them or something with it.
yeah. I knew like everyone else, of
Mm,
course, before that happened.
mm,
Yeah, we are all oneness. You don't have to worry.
mm.
But I didn't have a personal experience of it. I
Yeah,
didn't have a direct experience of the truth right in front of my eyes. But
yeah,
then I had it, and that's what really changed me. And then I was like, okay, now I have no choice but to let go. Otherwise, I would be an idiot if I continue to attach so heavily. It would just be ridiculous.
yeah.
And it affected me quite strongly. I actually went back to eating plant-based.
Mm,
I stopped fasting for a while, and unless I felt like I wanted to fast, I would never force again.
mm.
And it really changed me. I was so happy. Like even when my body suffered a little bit, when I ate a little bit worse, because I just
Mm.
wanted to eat a little bit worse, I would still be so happy, so grounded, and
Yeah,
I felt extremely grounded after that event.
yeah,
Normally, when people have some kind of high experience,
yeah,
you would think they get really out of their body, into the clouds, into the imagination.
yeah,
But for me,
yeah.
knowing what I know after this event just completely grounded me, and I felt happy even when things didn't work out so well.
Yeah, how bizarre. I feel like I come to it. I didn't have a complete awakening, but I feel that despite not eating well all the time, despite not fasting as much as I want to all the time, I feel energetically and like yourself actually quite grounded, level-headed. Mentally, I've got all the thought processes, the trust in the universe, and all that. It's beautiful to get to that place. However you get there, it
Yeah,
doesn't. Not everyone, I guess, needs to go through a Kundalini awakening. But my God, if you do, then what an amazing story of divinity coming to you. And by the way, I don't think it's an accident either, like the timing of it. And so that's beautiful. That's what led to the situation. Yeah. By the way, I don't want to make these too long because I know that we could talk forever. I didn't want to ask you more questions.
yeah.
But first of all, at the end, I want to give you an opportunity. Like, do you want to explain a little bit about what you do for other people? Like um what services you offer? So you do the natal chart readings. Do you do anything else for other people and how
Yeah,
they can benefit it?
I would love to talk about that.
Mhm.
So, the way I work now is that I help people to recognize the synchronicity in their life, recognize themselves, what is moving them from the subconscious. Because when we work with astrology, for example, which I use as an astrologer, I look into every placement and I look at how the subconscious mind of a person is affected by it and how a person makes decisions based on their emotions and where these emotions come from, where the true motives come from, what their true desires are, why they have these desires, and how to work with them, how to align with them, and how to resolve the imbalances that come in their chart. For example, when I have a person who has a very seventh house dominant chart or Libra dominant chart,
Mm.
this could be someone who's very selfless, who's always working towards being liked by others, doing everything for others. And then I help them how to cultivate qualities that can bring us to balance so they can actually cultivate masculine qualities, self-assertive qualities, how to do that, and why they feel that way, that they always have to please others. Why do we have to please others? How can we take care of the psychological need that you have you're trying to fulfill by making others like you? And then we really get to the root cause of it.
Mm.
So I also do trauma work, psychology work. I do detoxification work as well if people want that. I work with really a variety of topics. Yeah.
Yeah, because you do know a lot about a lot of things. Yeah, the detoxification, you've got experience with the the nail charts. There's a lot of things for you. How would people get in contact with you for these services? I mean, I think I'll put your website, if you have one, under the YouTube description. But do you know off the top of your head how they contact you?
Yeah, thank you. They can just contact me through email or through Facebook, but I don't have a website. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So we'll put the Facebook underneath the thing for this so they can contact you. So this has been really cool. I think we should do another more parts of this because I wanted to ask you more questions, if I'm being honest. But I just think it's going to be too long. So yeah, appreciate it, Georgios. Is there any last message you'd like to leave people that are going to watch this before we disappear?
Yes. I want people to use their intuition, to trust the feelings they have that confirm the synchronicity they have in their life. Anything they can see that confirms that everything is divinely scripted, I want them to listen to that, pay really, really deep attention to that.
Right, yeah.
Because there is a script, everything is exactly designed, it is meant to support you, to bring you to the most optimal outcome for all. Because when you think you're unhappy, things are not working for you, it's because it's not just about you. Everything that happens to everyone is for the good of everything.
I like
that's
that.
why we may see sometimes that bad things happen. And whatever this thing that we perceive as bad is actually contributing to something good somewhere else in some other way that we may not even be able to see.
Oh my God, I relate to that message so much more than I ever did years ago. Yeah, that's so true. Trust, trust, trust. The synchronicities are there for all of us. We're all on a divine path. So yeah, man, thank you so much for this. And you are on a divine path, and I really appreciate you. Thank you, and everyone watching too. Cheers.